For me, this business of a dying culture is very important. We're working with the Hearst Museum. I think the Hearst Museum was founded to collect stuff from a dying culture, to keep it around for scholars in the future. And when this culture refused to die, the museum is now struggling with how to deal with this. It's a momentous and a historic struggle. And the West Berkeley Shellmound is now threatened by development. And the artifacts that the Hearst has been collecting from it all these years are ambassadors to us of another world. If we look at these mortars, we can get a sense of that other world. We can get a sense of the pounding of acorn in it, the rhythmic sound of that acorn pounding. We can get a sense of what it is to live in a world of faith, that the acorn trees will give you acorns every year. I think there's several characteristics of Indian aesthetics. One of them is that the world wants to be beautiful and that people are there to serve the world in its desire to be beautiful. We're here because of the West Berkeley Shellmound. It was built 5,000 years ago. It was the oldest village on the shores of San Francisco Bay. And I think this is our holy ground. And I think to give it over to development is just so stupid. It's such a sin. It's such a short-sighted thing. And I think it's a place where what I frankly think is at stake here is Berkeley's soul. And I think that if we lose this, we lose our soul.
And what I want to really note today is that this conference is part of a renaissance that's going on in the museum, and in fact in a number of anthropology museums. And what that renaissance is all about is bringing in great native scholars, artists, and elders, and I can't think of a better panel than what we've got here in terms of those experts who are coming in to help us in terms of how we store the material, how we treat the material, but how we interpret the material, which is why I am so excited to be here today, because I'm here to learn along with everyone else.
When we look at all of the objects that are here, whether they're the baskets or the mortars or the obsidian points or whatever it is, it makes me feel so proud to know that our ancestors valued beauty. A lot of people don't know Ohlone people are still around, and if they do know that we're around, they often have these misconceptions about who we are and how much we know about our culture. The truth is we know a whole lot about our culture, and we're doing a whole lot community-wide to bring back traditions that were dormant and sleeping for a couple generations.
So if you do this, then pretty soon you can bring it and apply it. And depending on how hard and how fast you do it, it will begin to erode away. Little chips, little pieces of chips will start breaking off.
That it's a little saw. It isn't sharp to the skin, but it actually is very efficient at cutting things like tules, which I cut a lot of tules.
Those charm stones also work for those kinds of, for love.
L-U-V.
Yes, for love. But also, too, they make charm stones today just for luck. And we always tell people, we'll make that charm stone, but you put what you want into that charm stone.
When a person makes something out of stone, what they are already doing is addressing the spirit in that rock. And when they make it well, and they make it so it will present itself, it's giving an elevated value to what the rock means. And if you're lucky, you might get that message back in the rock telling you how they appreciate it.
From this, I hope that there's action. Action that will result in making sure that the West Berkeley Shellmound stays protected forever, to make sure that our people there are safe, and to make sure that we all learn from these objects. And I'd like to personally say it wasn't easy for me to see these objects on display. I know that these objects, that they were meant to stay in the ground with our people. And in the early 1900s, in 1902, when these objects were first removed, our people were living under institutional slavery, where there were bounties placed on the heads of California Indian people. In the 1950s, our people were further disenfranchised after our federal recognition was stripped away from us and we had no rancheria to go to. We're doing what we can today as the Ohlone people of 2018, but we're following in a long line of people before us who've stood up in every capacity that they could to make sure that we defend our people and our culture. We're doing the same thing now, just like every other generation before us did, since contact. Even before contact, our people did everything to protect culture. And we hope, but we're also certain, I'm certain, that future generations will be doing this as well, to make sure that our story lives forever. We're the original people of this place. We have an undeniable connection to this land that we're on right now. And when I look at these objects, while they might be difficult to know how they got here, I feel pride in the power that I see in front of me. So let's stand united and say no to any desecration at the West Berkeley Shellmound. Thank you.